Hey guys, random video. I've been trying to see try to make a video besides just like food diaries, and I'm like, okay, I'll shoot one when I'm not working on my new business, which is girls hairbows, and when I don't have laundry and when I don't have extra work at home. And it's like, you know what, let's just give this a try. I'm outside, it's blazing sun out here. I might be looking crazy in the parking lot waiting for my son to get out. I'm here super early, as in 35 minutes early, if not 40 minutes. Yes. Actually, let's see if it's not gonna be okay. See, super mess, hot mess, red. I don't even know why I have my hair down. Hot mess. I'm breaking out. I don't know what I ate that I got allergic to. I mean, I've always had the pimples and stuff, but I have breaking out extra than usual, you guys. I don't even know if like extreme heat and humidity is doing it. I have no idea. Anyways, see, super mess. Anyways, let's move on from the mess. As you gathered from the video, I wanted to make this for a while now. Excuse me, as I was looking there the whole time. Excuse me, okay. So I'm just doing this in the car, just to get something up and going for you guys. Excuse me, okay? That's a La Croix. No sugar, no artificial sugar, no nothing. Just water and flavor carbonated drink here. So I'm sorry, you guys, my eyes are all over the place. So when my daughter, I'm trying to settle the camera here. When my daughter was turning 12, I was starting to worry about how I'm gonna explain to her. She's nonverbal. If you are not familiar with my daughter's condition, she has Down syndrome. And her speech is very, very, very limited, okay? So I was wondering, how am I going to explain to her that the period is part of growing up and all that stuff, and it's normal not to freak out. When she was, up until then, she was much younger, if she gets a little scratch or nick or anything on her finger, on her anything, she would walk around like this for 3 days and refuses for you to touch it and goes, ow, ow, ow. And I'm like, what? How is she going to react to a full-blown period? I was really, really worried. I try to look for resources online on how to explain to a nonverbal girl about her period, about her changing body. And maybe I wasn't looking hard enough or in the right places, more like it, because I was looking hard, okay? I just maybe not, I don't know if you came across it, regardless. So I was like, what do I do? So I talked to her doctor, wonderful doctor that has extensive years of experience with Down syndrome children and other special needs. And she gives me a complex book that you would give any child going through puberty. It talked about deodorant. It talked about how hair would grow in other places of your body. And it didn't even show the hair or even the body part per se. You know how American books are. European books are like, pow, this is what's up. Natural, no shame, and body, whatever. American books are like, I don't know if you know what I mean or not, okay? Extremely taboo, extremely prude, but then I'm not even going to get into how sexual stuff is everywhere, all over the place. But when it comes to education about sex and education about body and stuff like that, it's like, here's the education, don't do it. Moving on from that, because that's a whole other book. So I looked at the doctor. I was like, seriously? And I usually am very polite, but it really took me back. It took me back, and she's like, read this to her. And I looked at her and I was like, in my mind, I was like, you've been Kina's doctor for 10 years. You know her speech, you know her understanding, you know her IQ is a level of 2-year-old. And you want me to read her about the cycle and the period. And I was like, so what I said is, Kina's not going to understand any of this. She's like, well, show her the pictures. And I wish I had bought this book from Amazon to show you guys. It was bullshit, straight up. There's no way my nonverbal daughter was going to understand any of this. My neighbor's like, what is that crazy woman doing? I'm sorry, this is wobbling when I'm holding it with my finger here, with my hand. Okay, so I was like, what do I do? Oh my gosh. And then I talked to another parent, and her daughter is, she was like I think 20 years old with Downs. Like my daughter, she was very nonverbal. And I was like, what did you do? And she laughed and she said, that's exactly what she was told before. Read her a freaking regular book. That doesn't make sense. She said, so I just told her red. And I don't remember exactly if she colored it with a marker or red sauce or soda that was red on the underwear or in the pad. But all she said to us that she referred to it as red, the color red. And I'm like, okay, I could see that working for Kina, but I don't think she'll make connection between the soda and the underwear and the view of the blood. And I was like, you know what? This video is not very PG. I said, fuck it. I was like, thank you for the idea. I didn't say fuck it to her because she was being nice and giving me an advice. But I took her advice. Now I applied it for what I knew it was going to work for Kina. She needed visual. Sorry, you guys. This one's so bugging me. I'm going to cover it. There you go. So it's not distracting. So I knew Kina was going to need a more realistic visual example to truly understand and connect. And despite what I had planned in mind, I was still worried that she was going to freak out. Now, I am very glad I did what I did. And you're like, come on, girl, spit it out. What did you do? Straight up, I brought her in with me. And instead of using my regular tampon, sorry, this is TMI for you, but, we got to talk and keep it real. So instead of using tampons as I usually do, I just use the pads for like 3 or 4 of my periods, for like 3 or 4 months. And anytime I got my period, I would wear a pad. And you're like, oh my God, you showed her your pad. Yes, I showed her my pad because that's what was going to happen to her. And if a girl that would get a little nick on her finger would go 3 days like this and doesn't lay it down and doesn't wash her hand, I was really worried that she was going to have an extreme horror panic if shitload of blood was coming out from down there. Are you kidding me? So yes, I had to show her visually that it happens to her mom as well. And I showed her for 3 or 4 months, if not 6 months before her period actually started. So once I don't think would have registered and would have been enough. I showed her and I wore freaking pads. It was horrible. I haven't worn pads since like my early years of my period. But I'm like, it's the only way. She needs to see it continually. So it becomes kind of it's a normal thing, normal reoccurring thing. You understand what I'm trying to say? So yes, I wore the pad. I toughed it out for like 4 or 5 months. And I showed her and I was like, big girl, like mommy, this is red. So tying the actual blood with my pad and naming it red. And she started saying red, and I would say, yes, mommy, big girl. Kina, big girl soon. Kina, big girl soon. She understands some simple words like that, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, yay, mommy's a big girl, and Kina's going to be a big girl. And I show her the pad, and I clean, and I was like, it's okay, Kina, it's okay. So she's like, yay, it's okay. And I was like, I have to hype it up and make it seem like, yay, even though to emphasize that it's okay. You understand what I'm trying to say? You have to exaggerate something sometimes to come across when the communication is not there. When verbal communication is not to par, you have to overdo it with reaction and facial expressions and nonverbal cues like, yay, big girl. Like she would see, okay, it's exciting because I'm a big girl and stuff like that. And the first day we realized she had her period was at the grocery outlet. She was like holding her stomach. I was like, could it be? And I had a pull-up with me. And I'm going to tell you other stories before this. And I was like, could it be? And I go with her to the restroom. And she sat down in the toilet and I went inside with her in the stall, the larger stall of the handicap stall. And sure enough, her underwear was soiled. And she said, looked at me and she's like, oh, red, Kina's a big girl. And I was like, yes. Yes, honey, that was a victory to me. I wanted to avoid her a panic attack, so it worked out. She actually was excited and she didn't freak out. She didn't cry or anything. She said exactly what I had been practicing with her for months, like 4 or 5 months again. So just the one time, I highly doubt, and you know your kids, okay? I don't think For Kina, she needed to see it 4 or 5 times, if not more. And she said exactly the words I would say when I used to bring her in with me to see it and to see the process of cleaning and everything. She said, yay! She looked at me, she said, red. Because every time I would show her, I'd tell her, red, it's okay, big girl. So she said, yay, red, Kina is a big girl. She refers to herself as Kina. Kina is a big girl. I was like, yes, Kina. That was such I felt so relieved, you guys. I was honestly worried. Now, I talked to other parents, and to each their own. To each their own, and every parent, I can't judge, although it's really hard to judge. It's really hard not to judge. I talked to another special needs mom. Her daughter has Downs as well, and that's as much as I'm gonna say. And not just her, in fact, many parents, and I guess not just Down syndrome, other conditions, they opt for a Depo shot. Yes, you heard me. I don't know if all the states they do it, and if it's legal for all the states to do a Depo shot on a special needs kid. But apparently in some states it is legal. And I'm like, I am not gonna do a Depo shot just because it's gross to clean up my daughters. And I was like, why Depo? She said, she's like, it just does not feel right and feels so nasty to go clean her up. And I'm like, that's your child. I told her, do you know what Depo Provera shot? If you're not familiar with it, it's the excuse me, I hate that thing. It's a contraceptive, okay? It's a freaking contraceptive shot. Horrible. It drove me nuts. It threw my hormones out of whack. If you're not familiar with it, if you had it yourself and it didn't affect you badly, kudos to you. Some people get it and it just really messes up their bodies bad. It messed me up so much. And I was like, if I'm a full-grown woman and this did this to me, what would it do to a 12-year-old or whatever child? You know what I mean? Anyways. So, and her excuse was not because I'm worried that she will freak out or she will get scared. Her excuse was, well, it's nasty and it's gross. I'm not going to clean her blood up. And I'm like, okay. It's not the best thing in the world to help your daughter get cleaned up. In fact, Kina at this time, she prefers to clean up herself. And it's not a big deal if it's not extremely perfect because she showers and it cleans out good. And I did not want to force myself upon her, like, let me clean you up so it's like perfectly clean. No. Something natural. It's coming out of her body. She's wearing pads. She's changing pads regularly. She's cleaning as best as she can. And she's showering up. Okay? But I was not about to have her. Let's move on. So yes. If you have any other techniques or if your doctor has given you other ways to deal with nonverbal children, or even if they're verbal, just special needs, and it worked out for you, please do comment and share your story with everybody watching this video below, just in case they don't like my style, like, girl, you showed her your pad and that's too nasty or whatever. No, it's a natural part of life. It ain't nasty. It's my daughter. She's nonverbal. It worked for us, and that's all I have to say. I hope if you are worried about that and you give it a try and let me know how it works for you. And until next time, this is Keeping It Real episode 3 or 4. Don't quote me on that. See you guys.